Okay, looks like we're live. So we'll wait a few minutes to see if anybody jumps in with us, but we have quite a few things to talk about. It's been a while since we have been together on a live, so hopefully it will have some good information and help a few people. But
So let's, so are we gonna wait for people to come in, or are we just gonna go ahead and?
yeah, no, let's get started. I was just going to
Yeah.
say, um, congratulations to you first, because last year was your last year teaching, and so you're officially retired. And has it sunk in yet?
Not really. I think the not being so busy to do everything I usually do every summer has been an adjustment, because it's like my brain is on blank until about 1 o'clock, and then all of a sudden I have all these ideas and motivation. So that's a difference, and I think it probably won't set in until it's time to go back, and I'm not going back. I don't know, maybe it won't change. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
Well, typically that would only be a few weeks from now, right? That
right,
you would be getting ready to go back to school.
right. It feels different, but it doesn't feel different. It feels different because I don't, how do I put this? I don't, I guess the pressure, there's less pressure. And my mind is more, low key right now. Like I'm
Mm.
not, it's not filled with all these things that I'm thinking of, things I have to do in the near future. So it's an adjustment.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I don't know, not like you think, not like you think it's not real, but kind of that feeling like it hasn't sunk in yet, and it might take a long time. But I think just from what we've talked about this summer, I've already seen a change, because at first it was, I don't know, maybe there was that feeling like you only had a few weeks to get your relaxation in, like you
Right.
have over the last 20 whatever years.
20
But
too
now,
many.
yeah, but now that you're seeing that, or understanding that you don't really have to go back, you've been able to relax a little bit, and I guess
Not have to read all the books that I want to read before school starts in a few weeks, and nice that I could stay up reading until um, you know, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and get up at, I don't know, 9:30.
yeah.
I I think it'll hit when it's cold and raining out and I don't have to get up and I can just roll over, smile, and go back to sleep. I think that's when it's gonna hit me like, okay, this could be good.
Well, I think one of the things that you've already started to experience is that you forget what day it is. You know,
Yeah.
we joke about forgetting to put the garbage out because we forget it's Wednesday. So that's been pretty cool to see. And
I know I keep looking at my phone to see what the date is and what day it is. It's like, okay, wait, what's today? So your schedule pretty much goes out the window. Yeah, it does. It goes out the window. There's really, I don't have to be in, other than doctor's appointments or any kind of thing like that. I don't have to be anywhere, which is nice.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, with all of my doctor's appointments, that's really the only thing that's keeping us on track as far as the weeks go. Uh,
Yeah,
with, I'm going to be getting the cataract surgery this week, and
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. But
You're looking, wait a minute, you're looking forward to it or you're not looking forward to it?
I am looking forward to it. The only thing that I is kind of a drag is that I have to be, well, take it easy for a few days after it's done. So
Yeah,
that's going
that'll
to
be
be
good.
weird.
Yeah. Yeah, so that probably means less screen time to give your
Yeah,
eyes
for
a
a while.
chance, yeah, to just relax and to heal. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
that'll just give you more time to watch movies with me.
Okay. Well,
So I started watching, I don't know how it, well, we used to watch it's called Vera, and she's Scottish or English or something. And she's a detective. And we used to watch her, and I used to really love watching her. And I we haven't seen any of her. So then I magically figured out how to use the Fire Stick and get live TV. So then I found Midsummer Murders, because I love mysteries and murders. So we found Midsummer Murders and a couple others that are all British or whatever. And I just love them. But then I started thinking, oh my gosh, I'm really getting old because only old people watch British TV. So then I started thinking, okay, that's okay, because I can watch one show in the morning when I'm having my coffee and then go off and do whatever I want to do. But one show leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. So, yeah. So I've made my schedule that, well, I need to hold to it, where it's one day I don't do anything other than just read and just relax, just do nothing. Because I do love to read, but haven't really held to that yet.
yeah, we kind of jumped ahead to the random topics. We'll get back to our real estate stuff real quick. But I was just going to say on the shows that you were mentioning, the only downside is that it's live TV, so you can't pause it or record it or anything like that.
Right, right. That's the hard thing. There's no quick, let me grab something to eat breaks. Yeah,
Yeah, and there aren't even that many commercial breaks, right? So we were going to start off with talking about a couple of things that happened with our portfolio. Recently, we had gotten a letter from one of our mortgage companies that was saying our insurance deductible was too high.
Yeah,
And we put all of ours as high as we could put them because that's what our mentors had suggested to help save some money, which it did.
right.
But that one insurance company, we had set it at $5,000, and they let us know that that was not acceptable as far as they were concerned. So we had to drop it to 2,500, and it didn't really make that big of a difference for our annual premium, but it was just a surprise because you automatically think if you're able to set your deductible high with the insurance company, it doesn't always play right with the
Mhm.
mortgage company.
Right, right.
And
So when they drop their insurance, then do they contact the mortgage people, or do you have to contact the mortgage people and say our deductible's been dropped? And then what can the mortgage people do? I mean, they can't say, sorry, you can't have a loan. You already have it.
right, if you don't take care of the insurance, then they will place insurance, and it's typically they don't care
Oh,
about the cost. They just want their butt covered. So that could be pretty expensive insurance. So it makes sense for us to do it for ourselves. But then once our insurance agent re-quoted us, and he sent us a what they call an EOI, which is an evidence of insurance,
uh,
so that we could send that to the mortgage company, and then the mortgage
got it.
company reviewed that and they okayed it. So
So
that's
do
all
you,
done.
so do you think they would ever not okay it? Because, yeah, so I know they need proof of insurance. I understand that part, but would they, would there ever be an instance where they wouldn't okay somebody's insurance?
I,
Because the
I,
insurance has to cover if there's a loss or anything, right? So why would, yeah, I don't understand that.
Why would what?
Where the mortgage people would not, um, okay,
Oh,
the change.
no, as long as it falls within their guidelines, I don't think there are many reasons that they wouldn't accept your
Mm,
policy. And
right.
the insurance providers pretty much know what needs to happen, and they'll usually ask you all the right questions that the mortgage company would ask. So that was a pretty easy, I wouldn't call it a problem, but that was an easy little hurdle to get over. Um,
Did
did,
you,
did,
did, because of, how here at home, we have gotten the notices, yeah, we're gonna drop your insurance, blah, blah, blah. Did your stomach do a little, I don't know, a little flip when you got that and they said, we have to do this to your insurance? Mine did. When you told me about it, I thought, oh my gosh, now what? That was my first reaction. And then I thought, wow, okay, whatever it is, we can get through it. So did you have any?
no, no, there wasn't any panic or anything like that. It was just kind of a bummer because I knew that our premium was going to go up just a little bit because of that. So
Uh-huh.
that was the only downside really. Um, but I know, like you mentioned, for our primary here in California, um, we have to we have to keep clearance around the house for firefighting and things like that. It's like a 30-foot minimum all the way around the house, and they threaten to drop us every once in a while. Um, I guess that's the difference between California and having our properties in the Midwest, because in California, every house is in a fire zone. So that's been a big deal.
Yeah.
We, and one thing that I wanted to also say is that it's been nice having our weekly meetings, you and I, about the portfolio and just what's going on with it, because you haven't always really been in the loop on a lot of stuff that I deal with during the week or during the months, but just having that time to connect about that has been really helpful. The
For me, it's good to hear about that. So, for 25 years I've been teaching, and kids knew how much I love coffee. So I'd always get all these Starbucks coffee cards. And because if there's not a drive-through, if I'm going to work, if there's not a drive-through, forget it. I'm not stopping. And if the drive-through's pretty busy, which it always was, I'm not stopping. So I would just keep racking up all these gift cards. And after I put them all into my phone, so that'd be easier to use, because forget having a, gift card in my pocket and using it, I'd lose that too. So I ended up with like $543.
That was pretty
So
amazing.
yeah, I was so shocked. So that has been, so the good part to our Wednesday meetings is that it's at one of the Starbucks, and we get to have something to eat, a coffee to drink, and sit and relax just away, which is nice. But I think the Starbucks thing really helps. But those prices are high. I cannot even imagine people who pay for those.
Yeah.
That's like craziness. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, so we had two venti coffees, breakfast bites, and a coffee cake each. And that was like stinking $30. It's like, are they nuts? So I was thinking maybe I should start making some of these things and like set off on the other side of Starbucks and start charging half price. uh,
Yeah, it is pricey, and it's really nice that all the parents have given you those things over the years. Um, One of the other things, I see Alex's comment in there. Yeah, and that is one thing that we should do every year. Not fire your insurance company, but um, revisit those and see if there's any way for you to get get your insurance policy premiums lower, shop it around. Um,
I
and
have a hard
usually
time with that.
you can
I
save.
mean, I have, I mean, I don't have a hard time saving money. I just get, I don't know, I know people, this is gonna be something hard for people to believe, but I get attached to people, as in like our insurance broker, I mean, our insurance guy, when we were in Fremont, and I mean, we saw him twice, but
Mhm.
we just connected. And then when we moved out here and he came out here, it was like we were old friends.
Yeah,
So, you know, when things, and he's retired now, but so now I don't care. But it was hard to, whenever when they changed them, you know, it was like, what is this? You know, I want him back, period. You know, so I know we contacted him and said, la da da, we really want you, blah blah blah. And he said, well, you just keep coming to me and I'll work with you, no worries. So I think that's where I would have to really put on my business hat and say, okay, this is a business, and not get attached. But it is hard to get attached to people who you work well with, who who are personable, who understand what you're trying to do, who don't see it as just you're just a pain in my neck. I understand what you want. Let's see what we could do and are willing to work with you. It's hard not to get attached to those people.
yeah. I think it is a little tough, but I think that might give you, I don't know, I would not really negotiation power, but for example, I was going to say we really enjoyed working with our insurance agent for our primary. We were with him
Yeah,
for over 20
yeah,
years, but on the investment properties, there are some good people that have been very helpful um, that I enjoy working with. And I think even though we should still shop around for a better price, then maybe you can go back to our guy, his name's Mark, and say, these are some of the quotes I'm getting for other companies. Can you guys match it or not? And then I think they would still understand if you had to move on because you needed to save money. But you also want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples, as they say. Another company
yeah,
might give you a cheaper price, but take away a lot of the benefits that your original policy had.
right, right, yeah. Um, yeah, makes sense. We have one here that says, Senora Albright says, here in the South, a lot of investors are getting wind and hail off their policies to cut down on premiums, so they're essentially insured in case a building burns down.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a surprise to me here too, because the fire side of our policy is the major expense. It's, our overall insurance is about 2,200 a year, and about 2,000 of that was for the fire.
Right.
So, so I don't know, but oh, Alex is married to his insurance agent.
Yep. Uh,
That's good. Hopefully, she's giving him the best price,
I'm sure she
and
is.
hopefully, he doesn't make her angry because that could change.
I'm sure he doesn't. I think he's a very, very smart man.
Yeah, before we go to the random topics today, the other challenge that we're having in our portfolio is with our property in Indiana, because it's just really a communications issue. I think there, some of the people in the group know that we're with Angelo, and uh, we enjoy working with him, but it seems like they're having system glitches as far as, getting emails back and forth and him and us getting updates. We have a tenant there that keeps getting behind, and we already won eviction in court, but the tenant keeps catching up and he's taking care of the property. So we decided to continue working with him a little bit and see um, if he can keep getting caught up. The I'm not sure what's going on with him, but when we had our last meeting with Angelo, we were talking about, or he was sharing how difficult it might be to find another tenant in a reasonable amount of time. And also, it won't be long before winter sets in there, so that would make it even harder to find a tenant. So for now, we're just going to keep going as we're going. And I don't know, I guess hope for the best.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
You
think,
know,
yeah, I think, um, I don't know, I wonder, and I always have my little smart comments about how he's making money. Not that it matters to me, but
mhm.
I wonder if it's because of where he's living. I'm sure it's the job situation. So I don't think it's probably a 9 to 5 kind of thing. It's probably like a contract work kind of thing. So that's, I think, because I don't know, but those kinds of things, sometimes I'll go down little bunny trails and try to figure out, not that it would make a difference on whether we keep them or not. Sometimes I just like to understand. And sometimes it can make you a little bit more compassionate, but it's not that your compassion can't overtake your work. Like you can't be so compassionate about somebody's situation and become wishy-washy that they're not held to the same, to the standard that you started. You can be gracious at times, but you
Yeah.
have to be careful. Because sometimes you're gracious, they see that as a weakness, and therefore then things get crazy.
Yeah, that's true. And you and I also had the conversation about that too, because the person is obviously catching up, right? So
Right.
you think if they're struggling and they're catching up, um, that's one thing. I mean, we had one other tenant in the triplex that just stopped paying, and they were going to face eviction. They decided to move on their own. They should actually have moved out yesterday. So we'll check on that on Monday and see
Right.
what's
With-
going on there. The communication is a lot better there with
Yeah.
the property manager, but the you know, I guess moving on to the next thing, the guys Charles and Alex talking about their wives and things. I also there was also some recent talk by I think Zuber was the first one that mentioned it, and he often talks about how his wife Olivia kept him in the game of rental properties because even for him, after when they bought their first one, they placed a tenant, and then something happened. The wife moved out, and the husband was there by himself and got
Drinking and being
just
foolish. Yeah.
angry and just trashed the place
Yeah.
after they had just made it, fresh and livable. And then he was thinking he made a mistake and was going to get out, but in his story, he said Olivia just asked him, or told him they didn't do anything wrong, um, and that she thought they should keep going, even though it was going to cost them probably several $1,000s to get the place in shape to re-rent again. And that just got me thinking about, well, in our story too, last year in 2024, we had dumped a bunch of money into our portfolio, and I was feeling pretty bad about it. I was in the same kind of, I guess, mindset that Zuber was. I was thinking, should we just sell it all and do something different?
Move to Tahiti.
And you talked me through it, and um, and this year in August it'll be the 5th year
Wow.
of since we bought the triplex, and things are smoothing out. I guess I should say how I would put it, but and I don't, like you and I were talking before we came on, I don't always. think it's the wife that keeps the husband in it. I think sometimes it could be the other way around, but to have somebody going along the journey with you to help you through those times is really important. I know it helped me, and sometimes we hear about people in the group where the wife or husband or whoever isn't, you know, doesn't really care about the real estate. And that seems like it could be pretty lonely. And I guess thankfully they have a community to lean on, you know, Zuber's community, and they find a place that, well, you know, like me, I mean, I could talk real estate all day long. If somebody has an issue or they're trying to work through some stuff, uh, I can listen and, you know, offer suggestions. And that's how most of the people in the group are. So it's a lot different than any of the other communities that you see out there.
Yeah.
Um, so it looks like Janelle and her husband try to do the weekly update thing as well. I
That's
wonder, I
nice.
know Janelle's in Fresno, I believe. Um, Not that it's important, but I just wonder how, well, it is important how long they've been investing. I was going to say it's not as important as how many doors do they have, but I would just be curious if their portfolio is still small or are they just beginning. That would be something to find out if she can put that in the chat. And I think the next kind of real estate topic is we've been hearing or reading posts in school about how or why our contractors so expensive. And, you know,
Oh,
we've become pretty close with Grumpy. He's a contractor as well. And I guess those kind of questions get under his skin a little bit because I think a lot of times, and, you know, we're investors too, and we try to get things at the best price we can. And when you get an estimate from a contractor, I think a lot of, not just investors, but a lot of people are surprised at the final number. But I think in the investing world, particularly, some investors buy a deal without investigating or doing their due diligence on what things actually cost, right? So they don't leave enough margin. And then when they go to do their rehab work, whatever it is, if it's a small list or a major rehab, they get the estimate and then they blame the contractor. I don't think,
mhm.
um, you know, it's not the contractor's fault that they buy a deal that's too skinny. So we're trying to, I guess, educate them to do a little bit more research and find out what things really cost. Jim and I have been using AI a lot to help with our estimates. And I think they have a pretty good grasp on whatever the market is, you know, if it's St. Louis or California or wherever, they come back with some pretty realistic numbers. And I've been surprised that the numbers are usually a bit higher than I would have estimated on my own. But when I've taken those estimates to the client, at least here, they haven't had an issue. You know, they haven't been shocked or upset or anything like that. So I think it's helpful. And anybody in the group can always check in with me or Jim or any of the other contractors I'm sure that are in the group and say, hey, you know, I'm having this bathroom tiled. What would you think would be a fair price? And that might help them understand the process.
I think Well, that's always been a thorn in my side and your son's side for however many years we've been together, many, many years, because to us, he and I, you never charged enough for your services. It's like you would see how much it was going to cost and say, oh, yeah, well, that's too much. They're not going to go for it. And then you would lower the bill and we'd look at you like, well, why? You, why? If that's what it costs, that's what it costs, and then it would be even worse because you would be kicking yourself forever saying, man, we're barely making it. Why not? Why am I not making more money? And how are other contractors making more money? And we're looking at you like, okay, how many different ways can we tell you to stop lowering your prices? And I attribute that one to your big heart for people, one. But yeah, so we stopped telling you, and so now when you say stuff like this, your son and I would look at you like, okay, so how could you not hear it 25 years, 30 years ago when we were telling you this? Yeah. And people don't, and I guess one of the things, so on the customer side, one of the things that people don't understand, I think as investors, and I guess it drives me nuts more when investors do it more than when a regular person would do it. When they sit there and complain about contractors. Okay, so my first question is, have you done your due diligence? Do you know how much things cost? Do you know what their labor cost is? Or are you just taking what they say as gospel? This is, it's $15,000 to put floor down. Okay, so how much is a square foot? Did you check the site at Home Depot to see how much it is? How much are they charging you up? Or are you just taking it as, oh yeah, that's what the price is? So I think due diligence is still important. You have to do your part. You can't just tell somebody, oh yeah, this is too high. How the heck do you know it's too high if you haven't looked at the materials to see what it is or even know what the process is? I'm not saying you have to do the work, but if somebody's going to put a floor down or do whatever in my house, or my property, whichever, I want to know what is it going to take? We have to do this, and this, and then there's termite, da, 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 da. Okay, so that makes sense. So when I get that bid, because you get at least three, when I get that bid, I'm gonna look at it and say, okay, so why is A saying there's termites and B isn't even mentioning termites? What's going on? I mean, you have to do some work. You can't just say contractors are too expensive. You don't even know what expensive is. So that gets me, as you can tell, gets my feathers ruffled because it's like you could do due diligence for everything else, but you can't for a contractor. Due diligence for a contractor isn't just getting the bids. It's knowing what the work is, how it's going to be done, and what it's going to take. What are the material costs? It doesn't take you any time to get online with Home Depot or wherever and write that stuff down. And you'll do it for a while every time, and then after a while you're going to have a roundabout idea about what it's costing. So it makes it easier to make those choices, to make better choices. And when people's like thumbtack and all that, those prices all get inflated because they have to pay the company, thumbtack or Angie or whatever, to use those services. So don't think those are the best. They might be the most convenient, but they aren't necessarily the best price wise. Or
Yeah.
yeah. So okay,
Well,
off my soapbox.
I think with those services, one thing that's nice, and I think Dion has done it before, where he'll find someone through Thumbtack, and once he uses them once, he'll find out other things that they do, not just what he hired them for. So he's found some good contacts, and then you're not really going through Angie or whoever anymore. So that might be a good way to find people. Um, yeah, and one thing that has helped my customers understand my pricing is I started listing every single thing that goes into the project, right?
Mhm.
Whatever it is, caulking, masking tape, nails, screws, shims, because I think a lot of times they don't realize, they think, oh, he's just going to put in baseboards. How much are the baseboards? And that's it.
Right, right.
So I think that helps them understand a little bit. And plus, you know, in our business, we most of it is repeat customers. So that's nice because they know my work, they know how I'm going to treat their house, and that's what they're paying for, right? I don't think any of them would opt to go find somebody at Home Depot to do the job and not know what they're going to get.
Yeah. We have a question here from Alex. He said he came in a few minutes like, did you talk about the remodel questionnaire? Do you want to touch on that?
Oh no, we will be getting to that though. Thanks, Alex, for bringing it up. Um, we're the first part of these lives, at least my structure in my head, is to talk a little bit about what's going on in our portfolio so that those situations might help anyone out there. And then we just go off and do random topics, but those things are gonna come up. We'll be talking about side hustles, just so you guys have an idea, and hopefully you'll want to stick around. But there's a note in here that we're going to talk about Christmas movies. I'm not sure where that's going to go. Um,
Christmas movies.
we're going to touch on the fact that I thought in the beginning it would be easier to have one bank account for each property. And probably around the 4 year mark, I realized that that wasn't necessary. And oh, what else? Oh, and the real estate language, right? How much we've learned since we got started and that kind of thing. So I think we're going to work through the comments for right now, and then we'll get to those other topics. I think, and I really want to thank everybody that's on with us today. I was also going to mention that we're getting closer to 500 subscribers. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet, or if you know anybody who could find value in the kind of content that I put out, um, ask them to check it out and maybe they'll subscribe and get us to that 500 subscriber point. That would be great. Um, and also, if you guys have any suggestions or questions about things you might like to hear about, I know there are other channels that where the guys are a lot more knowledgeable, like Dion and Lumberjack and Zuber and that kind of thing. But I think one thing that we can add is all of the challenges and mistakes that we've gone through, because I don't think any of those guys have gone through what we've gone through. So I think we have a different take, a different experience to share. So hopefully it's helpful for you guys. Um, so I think now jump, let's see, I'm going to go back and see some of these comments. Yeah, Alex, there's a group here where we live too um, that we find through the church, and a lot of those guys have been really helpful, and a lot of them know a lot more than you might think. So that's been a great place to find help. Yeah, and um, Mikey, the landlord, a lot of people in the group have trouble finding contractors. And I don't know, right now, maybe I'm just at a different point in my life, but I'm, I don't know if you know me I don't know your handle. Are you someone that's in the group regularly? I'm 61. I'll be 62 in September. I've been a contractor for like 36 years now, and I'm
Oh,
kind
you're
of
old.
winding down. Uh, so I'm taking on smaller stuff. Um, and for me, it was the big jobs were nice, but it's nicer, I think, to move around, and do. one job a week or a couple different jobs during the week. That's nice and it's more interesting. And where I was going with that was I can't do a lot of the heavy lifting that I used to do when I was younger, obviously. So I'm trying to use my brain more than my whatever brawn I have left. Um, and yeah, so you're in Michigan. We have properties. We have some in St. Louis. We have one in Milwaukee, and we have the Gary, Indiana property. Most of the property managers have um, decent contractors and handymen, and their prices are fair. The one in St. Louis, sometimes they give us some really outrageous prices. I don't know if you've seen my video on that $43,000 plumbing estimate that we got. It's been about a month or two ago. And luckily, through their agent that we bought in St. Louis with, we got a contact for her plumber, and we've been working with him since we started buying there. And he did that $43,000 job for $1,700. So that's been a blessing. We also got another general contractor through our agent in St. Louis that has been able to save us some money, and they can usually get to our projects pretty quickly. In St. Louis, that company is called 4U, the number 4, the letter U, PM, and I've enjoyed working with them. They've been really great.
We have a question here about, what are your favorite and least favorite types of jobs these days?
Well, for me, well, I love painting. Interior painting is probably my favorite thing. Plumbing is my least favorite thing. Um, Electrical isn't too bad. Over the years, we basically had to learn how to do all this stuff because, like, I think it was Mikey, the landlord said, if the job's not big enough, contractors don't even want to come and look. And that's what we found in the beginning because all our projects were so small, you know, to get a plumber to come and do whatever, install shower valves or anything like that, um, was a challenge. So I just learned how to do it, and I've been doing it for a while. I've gotten all the way up. As far as electrical goes, I have replaced a couple of sub panels. I'm not a licensed electrician, so I don't do main panels, but um, yeah, so probably painting is my favorite. I I enjoy tile work. Um, that is a little bit more labor intensive, so I need them to start making 5-pound bags of thin set so I can carry those from the store to the job site. And it's kind of funny. Over here, we have Orchard Supply Hardware, and they used to sell bags of mortar that were only 5 pounds. I wish that was still around, but maybe it's just a young guy's game these days.
Where's there an Orchard Supply store?
The one we used to have, it's not there
Oh,
anymore.
got it. I thought there was another one popped up somewhere. I love Orchard Supply.
Okay, so it looks like Janelle and her husband have been at it as long as we have. And
Yeah.
most of the people here know this is our second journey. We tried way back in 2007 and lost those properties, went through bankruptcy and found our way back. So, but even though we fell into this community and, you know, there were still so many lessons, so many things we didn't know. And when we tried it the first time, I had no clue. I just thought you buy the rental and place a tenant and
Life is good.
life was perfect. But but we did learn a lot, and I'm thankful, and I'm glad we made it through it. And I know that caused you a lot of stress. I'm still sorry about that, but um, I appreciate you sticking with me through the second journey too. Any other questions in there before we get to the,
No, but one of the things that keeps coming to mind is that I think like as you have multiple properties that we have to get or not get stuck in the mindset or the mind thought of I just have to do this for 5 years and things are gonna be beautiful. Butterflies and unicorns and what have you and rainbows, but it's not true. It's 5 years for each property to settle down. It's not 5 years, just 5 years,
Hmm.
because
Well,
so
yeah,
it's, yeah, and some properties are gonna take longer than other properties. And I know
well,
that everybody likes to say, it's a 5 years are the worst and what have you. And they, they are rough, but I think the more you're educated, the more you're willing to slow down and think things through, that the less those 5 years will be a pain in the neck. Does that make
well,
sense?
you and I have gone back and forth about that because I see it a little bit different now because when you buy your first property, I think those 5 years can be really hard. I think, well, I guess theoretically, the next property you buy should be better because of what you learned from the first.
Right.
So maybe the second property doesn't suck for 5 years. Um, and then again, you're going to have the outliers. I was listening to somebody this morning talking about, or maybe it was a school comment that they had a foundation repair for $40,000. That's not really something you can always spot right off the bat.
Right.
So maybe that property, if it was in our case and we bought that in year three, then yeah, that property might have a longer sucky period. But hopefully they get better with each purchase and your experience um, comes into play with each purchase.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I,
Uh,
I I wonder, I wonder if, because you know how I would accuse, good word, would accuse you and others, um, about getting that high when you are in the process of buying and, the search, the hunt, and then conquer when you get it. Do you think that diminishes somewhat as you become more knowledgeable, more knowledgeable, or do you think it will still have that excitement that it had before?
yeah. And I think, well, again, a lot of people in the chat know our story. When I was 57 when we started again, and I was desperate to start generating some cash flow. So I thought we needed to buy as much as we could as fast as we could. And I think that overall, that slowed our progress because of all the challenges that came with that. I think if we had bought one or two and let them settle, like all the wise people say we should do,
Mhm.
we wouldn't have paid for the same mistakes multiple times, right? We would have learned the mistakes on the first one or two, and then we would have done better on the next few deals. And I think we would be a little bit further along than we are now. Um, but it's tough. I mean, we tell people all the time, be careful how fast you buy, how much you buy in the first few years, but we do get excited. I got excited, and it cost us a lot of money. There's no other way to put it. Um, but people, you know, I really, well, I was just going to say, I really love everybody in the group that we've met and we've talked to. And even though we try to explain that, they don't hear it and they'll just have to learn on their own. But it's unfortunate because if they slow down a little bit, I think we could save them a lot of money and pain. Um, did you make it through all the comments? I wasn't able to
Sorry, I was having my own side conversations. Oh,
check them all.
sorry. Um, I'm amazed by Alex. I think Alex is, man, he's awesome. I just, so he and I were just chatting a little bit about, he hires handy people from a recovery group, labor intensive jobs from the Mission House. It's a faith-based recovery. And he has a good relationship with a property maintenance company. So I asked him, who supervises the people in the recovery program? Because, when I was working at the school, that's what we used, a lot of that for the jobs that were done in the school during the summer. And he says he does. It takes a lot for me to have enough experience with a contractor to hire them with trust. And he says, and with the recovery handy people, the work helps them and me, but the conversations and relationship building is the greatest benefit, which I totally understand and agree.
Mhm.
But how does he have time to supervise those workers, do his job, give his family time and him time, It's like, he's amazing. He's just, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a lot going on.
Yes.
I think that is tough because he does have I think it's a fairly demanding W-2.
Yeah,
And this doesn't necessarily pertain to Alex, but if you're an investor and you don't have any construction experience and you're supervising a contractor or watching a contractor or whatever, how do you know they're doing it right?
exactly.
And so that's just a thought that popped into my head. That's tough, but I think and hope that's where people would lean on us, right? Because we do have the experience. Grumpy has the experience. There are other contractors, Charles. Um, I know I'm forgetting a bunch, but I'm sure anyone would welcome a call or a text or, an email to just to get help, give a little guidance because we've been through all that stuff. We do that stuff. And for me, it's mostly residential remodeling, no new construction. Grumpy does new construction. He does all the big stuff. Um, Jacek has his own business. So, hopefully you people will reach out. We don't
Yeah.
mind. One thing I wanted to, for Senora Albright, I haven't seen that handle before. I wonder where you're at and how long you've been investing. I did write down Simply Wise uh, as far as doing construction estimates. I haven't seen that before, um, but it'd be great to connect. Um, so what else you got before we move?
Alex was saying, yeah, that's me. I chase the excitement. And which brings up we had a meetup with Jen and people here in the area. Was it last month or so? See, time for me just is gone whenever we had the last one. And it was amazing because when we stood outside saying goodbye to everybody and you look around the group, the balance between
Oh,
husbands and wives, partners, whatever, was amazing because there's one who has that drive to let's buy, and the other partner is okay, slow down, let's talk about this, let's do this the smart way, and it was just, it's amazing as I listen to or read about our group and stuff, how many people have that. And that is so important. You need that balance. But yeah, that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah. Well, and that makes me think and we've gone to local meetups here, and it's not always the guy who's crazy about buying real estate. There are a couple of the wives that are just as crazy as I am. Um, and thankfully their husbands are, well, they're like you, right? They're the sensible side. So it keeps things balanced. That's a lot of fun. It's nice to see Karen here. We always love chatting with Karen. Um, yeah, and the group is amazing, Karen. I think, I don't know, how maybe you guys in the chat can let me know how you feel about reaching out to someone with a question, right? Because I think starting at the beginning with Zuber, that they always say there's no stupid questions. And I feel the same way. I don't care what the question is if I can help you. Um, so I wonder if people think or are hesitant to ask anyone in particular what they think about this or that. I think it's nice to have the posts in the school community because you can ask whatever question and it's not necessarily directed at one person. But you'll see, I mean, several people jump in almost on every comment and offer tips or any kind of help that they can.
Jason, Jason, Jason.
You know,
Oh, Jason, I
and
miss you, Jason.
I was thinking about Jason. We've been
Oh.
fortunate. Finally, last year we got to meet Jason in person, and I wonder how many people that are in the chat are going to make it to Vegas in January. Um, but
Mhm.
Jason is somebody else. I was thinking about you and someone else because, oh, it was a woman that I had one of the clarity calls with. She bought a property in Tennessee and everything, according to her, and it sounded right. Everything went perfect. And I think that's just as dangerous for some people because they think it's going to be that way from there on out. And I know in Jason's experience, I think from what he shared, his first property was a good experience. I think even his second was. The third one now, I think this is probably year two or going into year three, has brought up a lot of challenges. So, I almost would hope that someone's first deal wasn't perfect because that might give them the wrong idea and they might just go nuts.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so
Mhm.
there's so many things to think about in this business. And that was another post this morning that I put out there. When did you start thinking about your rentals as a business? I didn't think of it as a business in the beginning. I don't know where my head was, but
I did.
it, yeah, maybe yours was, but I think it wasn't until year four that it really hit me. So let's see. Any other questions in there before we move on?
Um, uh,
Yeah, and if folks are going to Vegas, I wonder if they're going to do the VIP experience or general admission. I think it's probably public knowledge now that Jen was able to arrange some kind of a discount with Downtown Grand for people attending the event. So that might be something you want to check into. Some
oh, I
people,
didn't know that.
what's that?
Said I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's working hard to try to make things even better with Zuber. She's helping him a lot. Uh, let's see what else. So I guess on the lighter side, I don't. So maybe we'll cover what Alex brought up here for a minute,
About
because our first topic was going to be about the side hustles. And I know that's kind of a, I don't know what you call it. It's thrown around a lot these days, but you and I um, are doing some different things right now. So once I realized that our portfolio wasn't just going to start printing money as soon as we bought it, and I had to learn patience the hard way, we started digging into a few things, and we've mentioned a few of them before, but you know, we got YouTube going. Not that we started it to get it monetized, but started it to help anybody thinking about getting into this business. And I hope they don't have as painful a start as we did, but hopefully, because we're sharing it, they they will have a smoother ride. Um, you know, so we've started doing the print on demand thing. We have our old guy merchandise. We created a website. I never, I always tease about being technologically challenged, but excuse me, we were able to build a website. So those designs are on the website. We collaborated with Zuber, and he approved some designs for one rental at a time. So there's different stores, I guess you'd call them, there on the website if you guys want to check those out. Um, let's see. We actually put a book out that's
whoa, whoa,
available.
whoa, 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 back up. There's no we in that. It has one author on there. You put a book out. Go ahead. I just use my red pen here and there, but
Go ahead and chat about that for a minute. I need to get a quick drink.
okay. So Frank put a book out, and really for someone who, okay, so now that he's not there, I can tell you the real scoop. He doesn't like to read. He can pick up a book, start to read, and within 2 sentences, he's fast asleep. So how he managed to write a book, it was amazing. Of course, he had some help, but still, that was a big accomplishment. I haven't read the whole thing. I mean, I read it as in I did some editing for him. Um, he asked that I not use a red pen, so I had to do it on the computer, and I had to use different colored fonts that weren't red to get in there and make comments. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna say I'm surprised because he's pretty stinking talented, and yeah, but it's pretty good. If you're interested, stop into Amazon and check it out. I'm not doing a sales pitch. I'm just saying, he has some great stuff that he'll talk about some more on his site of things to help if you know new investors, trying to look at things from a different perspective as a new investor. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I was going to say, it's not, I think most of the people here are more experienced than I started that book, and it's probably going to turn into a series, but it was a lot of the things that we didn't know when we got started investing. So it's really kind of a beginner type book. But and there's two versions. The one is a physical book on Amazon, and then on the website there's also a PDF version that's less expensive. So if you know anybody who could use that, I think I would opt for the less expensive version.
And please leave reviews. Just that gives him the feedback that so when he does his next one, I think though, when he does his next one, I'm gonna have to get in there on getting paid to edit.
As
That's a
long
lot
as
of
you,
pages. That
as
was
long as
stinking
you,
hard. He says to me, he goes, "Hon, will you read this?" I said, "Sure," thinking, like it's a page or two because he doesn't like to read. It's like, what, 100 pages? How many pages is it?
no, it's only 37
Oh
pages.
yeah, it felt like 100 pages.
Well, as you can help as long as you leave your red pen at home. I
I was
think
like, oh my goodness, I felt like I was working again. I kept having flashbacks of reading materials to him that my kids read. It was like, okay, did you even read this before you put it together? And then he made the mistake of asking our son to read parts of it. And he was so diplomatic. He's such a good son. He tells his dad, he goes, "Dad, um, maybe you should ask mom to look through it and edit a little bit so that it sounds more like you." Oh man. And then privately, our son says, "Mom, help him, please." So
okay, moving on. I was gonna chat about, so Alex brought
wait,
up
wait,
the,
really quick, really quick. So when you started this whole journey with, technology, what have you, you had a really hard time and learning everything, but you have come such a long way. It's like now when I'm doing stuff, I'll look at you and go, okay, so how do I do this again? Which is such a flip because to see your confidence grow has been such a joy. So good job.
it's been a journey for sure. Thank you. Um, yeah, I mean, Alex mentioned the quiz, right? So also on the website, um, I I created a quiz for someone thinking about getting into investing, and I believe it's 11 sections. You can go through. It asks for things like how much money do you make? Are you married or single? Is someone on the journey with you? Do you have savings? All those kinds of questions. And you don't have to put in your accounts or anything. It's just general. And then it will give you feedback.
And no one else sees your answers.
Right.
So so it's important that you be honest and to get that. I did it and put some I thought were good honest answers in mine, and it told me to run, don't invest, run.
Yeah. So those are the kinds of things that we're putting out just to, again, just to help the beginner. Um, oh, I think, yeah, Karen did try it. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And Alex for, testing things out. Like I said, I haven't built anything like that before. So we tested it on regular computers, on Apple, on iPhones and Droid phones, and it seems to work pretty good across all those platforms. Um, and then there are some paid things in there too. But if you guys try anything, I'd appreciate some feedback. Um, and I did get some good news the other day. I think we're going to be creating some designs for our favorite lazy landlord. So look for that to be coming pretty soon. And if we do get some approved designs, those will go on the website also. And um, again, just give us your feedback. I don't know if this will work. I'm going to try to put this in here.
And if we make it to, sorry, I'm going to throw this out there. If we make it to Vegas, because who knows, you never know what's going to happen, right? If we make it to Vegas and you bring your book, if you buy a book, print out the first page of the PDF, Frank will be happy to sign it. Or find me and I'll be happy to sign his name.
Janelle, that's very kind of you. Thank you so much. And like I said, I know, when you get them through Amazon, they add shipping and all that stuff. So if people are okay with a PDF version, they can read on their computer. That costs a little bit less, but we really appreciate that. Um, And two, I mean, since you got it, hopefully you'll get through it and let me know how we can make it better. I can't change that book per se, but in the next few that we put out, we can certainly make them better than the first.
That we gets you in trouble every time, every time.
If, um, well, let's get back to our list.
Okay.
So, uh, if anybody has, Janelle, I was just thinking about you. So Mark's been teasing about you going on his show. Somebody brought up the idea of you coming on with us first to practice for Mark's channel. So I'm just want to put that out there. You know how to get a hold of me.
And if you come on Frank's channel before Mark, don't tell Mark, but there might be a little something like a t-shirt or something for you. Just throwing it out there, just enticing you a little.
Let's see. Yeah, we have plenty of stuff. So I'm sure we could find something that you would enjoy. We don't, Mark's been asking for one rental at a time Crocs, but I don't think that's
I
gonna.
don't think that's gonna happen.
Let's see. So we did talk about the language, right? When we first started out, and it was something more that I saw on your face when we were getting started that a lot of the stuff didn't make sense. But now that we've been around the community for so long, I was just pleasantly surprised the other day. I forget who we were listening to, but we were able to we were actually able to keep up and understood what they were talking about, even though some of the terms were a little bit more advanced. So that's been a nice thing to realize that we have come a long ways from the beginning. Do, do you feel that way too? I mean,
Yes, I think also mine was, there was also a mind shift for me because, like everyone knows, I didn't want to do this to begin with. I was all for you doing it. I didn't want anything to do with it. And I think that had to do with the whole experience before, but and life was too busy. So I think that had a lot to do with it. It also had, and I bring this up every time we start discussing about whatever projects you're going to do, is that we people spoke to us people spoke to us like we were on the same level, and the terminology
mm,
was this, it was still there, but no one ever said what this means. Whatever word it was, what does it mean? You can't just throw something out there and say whatever. Okay, so that's what the word is. What does it mean and how do I use it? How does it fit into all of this? I don't know. Maybe that's just the teacher part of me, but that's how my brain works. It's like, don't just throw something out there and then think everybody knows what it means. And I think a lot of that has to do with whatever level you are in the investing, because you just unconsciously assume people know what you're talking about. And sometimes people won't speak up and say, wait a minute, what does that mean? Where did you get that? Or how did you, because they don't want to look stupid or whatever.
yeah,
And
or
I
they're embarrassed.
personally,
They're
yeah,
embarrassed that they don't know.
and I personally don't care if people think that. So I'm gonna say, well, wait a minute, what does that mean? And it's funny how, well, I had asked you the last time we were talking about this stuff. I had said, okay, so like buy box, ask people, what is a buy box? Give me a definition of a buy box. And you put it out in school, and there was like a million different examples, but nobody gave a definition of what a buy box was. So
Well,
how, so
I would say that nobody gave a definition of a buy box that a beginner could understand.
That's what I was just gonna say. So it was stuff like that. So then I started thinking about that and I started thinking, so really, do people really at the beginning stage with all the terminology, I wonder if what I wonder if knowing some of those better, some of that terminology better would have helped to not make so many mistakes or whatever. I wonder that, and that's why when you do your book and all this other stuff you're doing, I always look at it from a true beginner. What does that mean? You're telling me to do this. What does that mean? Or even, I think on the questionnaire, there was one question that was on there when I was doing it, and I asked her, so why do you care what this is? How does that have to do with real estate? Or maybe it was one of your sheets. I don't know, but yeah, it just, yeah. And how two words to me seem to be saying the same thing, but they kind of didn't, but no one could tell me the difference. I even went into, of course, me, I'm always gonna go look things up. I looked up and I thought, okay, so that makes sense. Now let's apply it to real estate. And it made a little bit more sense. But that can't really apply it to what I'm going through. But at least it gave me a better understanding of what was going on. Yeah, sorry, got off track. Alex says leverage. That must be the one word that, yeah, yeah.
Um, I think I just read Janelle's comment. It was tough when we first started. If you dare, Janelle, to go back and look at my first couple of videos, and the guys always say it, right? Your first few videos are gonna stink, but um, I had never done anything like this before, and it's been a great experience. It's been a great journey on the YouTube side. Um, so I think, yeah, I think it can be intimidating because you are going to be speaking in front of an audience. Um, but I think if you think about it, like, because people are really interested in what you have to say, you have more experience than a lot of people. And maybe you can help some beginners too. Uh, so,
Well, Janelle, so I'm here with Frank, but I never wanted to do this ever. And you notice my face isn't on there, it's an avatar. I I did, this was not my first choice. And I think now I think of it just as just sitting and having a conversation with him or with a group of people and not having to really look at their expressions, because once I start looking at people's faces and see, I can see what they're thinking, then it, kind of makes you a little crazy. So I think it's a little bit easier when, like, if your live with Frank was just a conversation you and he were having, and you don't have to think about anything that's in the chat or anything else, and it's just you and he discussing your story, that's not as bad as when
yeah, and maybe it doesn't even have to be live. Maybe it's just a recorded Zoom. The
oh, that would,
recorded, the record, because I do the, Meet the Investor series. If you go back through some of my videos, um, and I think that was a little bit easier for people because they didn't have the pressure of a live audience.
yeah,
Um,
that makes a big difference.
so that could be possible too. And I mean, as long as you're okay with it being put out there, because I would put it on the channel because the whole intent is to help someone out there. So that's a lot of fun.
But no
Um,
pressure. If you're not ready for it, it's okay. But
yeah, no, we just want to let you know that you're welcome to reach out. And we do have some really nice t-shirts, by the way. Um,
uh,
so what's next on our list? We talked about the language. We talked about, did we talk about well, I mentioned it in the beginning. I thought it would be easier to have one bank account per property to keep track of maybe the property's performance or the expenses or whatever it was. But now I think in year 4, and Dion has always said he's always had one account, right? One account and one credit card or whatever for that, um, for his whole portfolio. So I started closing a lot of the accounts. We had 10, well, we didn't have 10 bank accounts. We had 7 properties, so we had 7 different bank accounts. And now we're down to 2. I've been trimming that back, and you can still track all that stuff even if everything's going into one account. So that's been easier.
My thought of having a bank account for each was because I wasn't so involved in the real estate, and to be able to pull up, like, let's say the triplex and say, okay, what have we spent on repairs? What have we done on this? What have we done on that? And to be able to see, you know, profit and loss statement type of thing without having to go in and enter information in a spreadsheet. To be
Yeah.
able to have some kind of a snapshot. That was my thought. Because
Yeah.
I like to see a snapshot of something without having to do all the work first, and then knowing, okay, wait, I need to delve into this more, so I'll do the work. But having a snapshot at least would give me an idea if where we were going, where we were going. But since you do that, I'm good with it. As long as you tell me what we're doing.
Yeah. And I was talking to Jim last night, I guess it was, and just kind of reiterating that everybody's journey is so different. There, if you look at the school community, I think you'd have a hard time finding 2 people that are doing exactly the same thing. And, but it's kind of cool because they can still um, help each other, even though they're, I mean, you kind of want to be in the same strategy, long term, short term, midterm, whatever it is. But even if there are a few midterm strategists, their journeys aren't exactly the same, and they can
Right,
still learn something from the other person. I think
exactly.
that's another special part of the group. Um, so I think you folks can still copy and paste that, whatever links I'm going to put in here. And we were talking about the side hustle. So I think on on Facebook, you guys have seen me post some of what Cynthia's working on too. She's doing some planners and journals. Um,
Planners, journals, notebooks,
yeah,
um, um, yeah,
and so one thing, maybe this might get me in trouble with you, but
probably, but go ahead.
you were reluctant to work with ChatGPT. And
Why?
why what?
Why are you bringing this up? Okay, go ahead.
Because, it's just been over the years, like with the real estate, if anybody tries to force something on you, you push back hard.
Yep.
But eventually, you might try it yourself. And so it's like this with ChatGPT. I see that you've been using it to help you with some of your designs. And
Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, no. It has not helped me with my designs. My designs are my own. It's helped me to write the descriptions of my designs. So why I'm not really against any of the AI tools. I just think that people use them to not have to think things through. So chat says do A, B, and C. So people just go do A, B, and C. Okay, stop and think, people. You have your own mind. This thing doesn't have a brain. It has software that someone has programmed. So whatever, just like when you Google stuff, whatever you're doing, you still should be questioning the validity. Does it go with what you believe and what you want? Or are you just taking it and using it, saying, okay, this is good. So for example, like trademarks, I asked you the question about trademarks, gave it a couple of examples, and they said it was good. Yeah, not a trademark, you should be able to use it, right? So then I went to the trademark site and I looked it up, and no, it's not okay to use it because it's already protected. So I guess that's my thing with AI, is that people don't know how to use it responsibly. I guess that's the thing. And plus people, and I'll say this, I listened to you talking to this bot as if it were a person, and
Uh,
you get so mad at it. Oh my gosh. I sit back
wait,
here and
wait,
I
wait, 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 wait,
laugh.
wait, wait. Her name is Jezebel. Please use her name.
And what is the other one's name?
Claudius Maximus.
So, and he talks to them like they're human beings. And I'm like, just ask the question. That you don't have to do a please, thank you, and can you? No,
Okay,
it
but no,
you
wait a
no
minute. I
no no
was
wait a
thinking
minute.
about that. No,
Wait,
I was
no.
thinking about that the other day. So it's not that it's a thing, it's like the way I was raised, right? I'm talking to someone, it's just automatic. I say thank you or please or whatever. It's not that I believe it's a real person or anything. It's just the way I am. So I think,
So do you get up in the morning, get in the van and say, good morning, Phoebe, Fiona, whichever one you're in. How are you this morning? Can you please help me get to work? Don't even go there. You know you don't. So
well,
don't even,
I don't say all that. I say good morning.
oh, please. So anyway, so anyway, yeah, it just cracks me up. And I don't think
Wait,
it has to do with, listen,
you name
I,
your cars? Wait a
I don't
minute.
I don't think it has anything to do with how you were raised with the please and your thank you, because it's not a human being. I think it's just that you have personalized them, and that's how you need to have it to be able to relate on how you're asking stuff, I guess. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just makes me
Well,
crazy.
I was just kidding about the cars because if you don't name your cars, they're going to break down more often. That's the proven fact. So,
Are you reading the chats there? They're so funny.
no, I can't read it because I need to try to keep a straight face. I know
So
Mark's
it
in there
said,
somewhere.
yeah, he's in there. It says, there is actually really quick, a banking software we'll have to look at later on that Alex had. It helps with bookkeeping and accounting that we should look at. So, Josh says AI is great, but it's not bulletproof. Amen to that. And Alex says, I use AI to review and make recommendations based on my original work. Good. I use to improve my work, but not to replace my creativity. And that's your creativity is not
Right.
just something that's you draw,
No,
it's words, it's all of that.
but I
Um,
mean, that's how I've been using it. You and I won't name any names, but your son always thought I was just taking whatever it spit out as the gospel, but it 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 really has helped me as far as the technology goes, right? Because I think one of the nicest things that it can do, if I'm just say I'm in YouTube and I'm trying to do something and I can't figure out how to do it. I can send it a screenshot and it'll tell me you're on the wrong page or go up in the right-hand corner and click that button, those kinds of things.
okay.
I've learned a lot. So now a lot of times I don't even have to use it for that anymore. I'm on my
So,
way.
but that's different. That's using it as a tool, not using it to do the work for you. There's a difference. Technology is a tool. It's supposed to help us to do things better, to know how to do things. It's not supposed to do things for us. And I think that's been the biggest area that is not understood by people who use it. It's not, yeah, it's a tool. That's the greatest thing. So um Josh said Frank is just a polite guy. Yeah, you should see how polite he used to be when he'd work on the car and he'd hit his hand or something. Or when he would miss something. And yeah, that wasn't such a polite guy. Senora Albright says, I want our future robot overlords to like me.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to
Yeah,
be real
no.
someday,
Yeah, no.
and
And
you
then
better
she
be on
says,
their good side.
then she says AI is a tool. And then Alex says, I think AI gets abused like every other form of technology. Yes. Anytime something new comes out in technology, people go crazy. They start using it and don't even know how to use it. They haven't even, yeah, I agree. And Josh says that you also name your power tools.
How does he
So,
know that? I don't think I've shared that online yet.
yeah, but it's been quite a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I know I would not have been this far without it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way.
Yeah. I think you are using it more appropriately now than you did at the beginning. And at the beginning, and that's why your son had asked me and asked you to have me look at your stuff because it didn't sound like you. Everybody has a voice when they write, and that did not sound like you. It sounded like AI. And that's why he said, look at it, read it. It's not him. And if you want to reach the audience you say you want to reach, then you have to change. You have to take that information that they give you and put it in your own voice.
Yeah, that was always the message that I heard, right? Um, use your own voice, but it's great for thinking through things.
Uh-huh.
And I used tried to use it to help me generate some scripts for some of my videos, and it wasn't me, so I stopped that. Um,
Stay safe, Josh. Might have to leave because they're going to be cutting off the power because they're in a due
oh,
to the fire danger.
yeah,
You have high winds and high drag conditions right now.
it's crazy up there.
Yeah, it is. So, so my new project has been doing writing journals for kids. Well, I started out doing planners and some notebooks mainly for some of my kids who are moving into high school or into finishing up middle school, because I found that a lot of the ones that they were using didn't make sense for them. And I know that everybody's different, and I understand all that. So I was just doing a few just with some of their feedback on what they would like and what have you. So that's what I started doing. And then I started thinking of a bigger audience. And um, so I have some planner designs, I'm sorry, the journals, which are blank inside. They might have some decoration on the inside or some, but they're blank for you to write, whether it's a reflection. I have some for men, I have some for women, I have some I should say male, female, either way. I have, some kids stuff, and I'm going to be doing more. The first ones were very basic because that's what my kids asked for. But now they're getting a little bit more creative, and I'm enjoying that. I unfortunately start going down those little rabbit hills of what bunny trails that lead me on to other things, and I'm not really ready for that as far as yeah, I'm not ready. I'm not there yet. Not that I couldn't do it, but I don't want to add more to my plate yet. So I'm waiting for this to take off and see what I can do after that. But I'm enjoying doing that. I've put out 20 something already, 20 something of those
Mhm.
type of books, whether they're composition books for kids or whether they're journals, notebooks, planners. So those have been fun. They've helped me because when you're a teacher, even though you're creative, you're creating stuff for kids. It's not really your own thing. It's not like I wouldn't have had the time to create some of this stuff for my kids.
Yeah, yeah,
Because,
it's
yeah,
been
because
pretty
I
fun.
was, yeah, too busy doing school stuff for them. Yeah. So it's been fun.
Yeah, one of the silly things that's been happening because we've both been working on our individual things here at home, but I'm here in my space and you're in the office, and sometimes we don't even come out to eat.
I know.
It You got to be careful with that. We've been having dinner really late because of that, and that's
Last
not
night it
healthy.
was like 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
But though, and in the same breath, it's nice because like I can shoot over, I mean, our house is little, so like I don't have to walk far. I'll go over and I'll say, "Can you look at this?" And he'll try to bring it up on his computer. So just come back. And then I'll show him, we'll talk about it. Or I'll hear him talking about something and I'll go, "Wait a minute." So I'll go back there and say, or up over there and say, did you think about this? Or is this what you're talking about? Or are you having problems with this or whatever? So um, yeah, so it's been good. It's been good to have, and yesterday you were gone on a job, and I realized, I'm sorry to say this to the public, but you're a bad influence. You're a stinking bad influence. So
What do you
yesterday
mean?
you were
Wait,
gone,
be
you
careful. We don't want to get canceled
you were on a
like
job,
Mark.
and I got all kinds of things done in the morning without you here. But when you're here, it's like, I don't want anything because we're just together. So it was nice. It's like, oh my gosh.
Well, okay, I'll just pretend to go to work from now on.
Ooh, Alex says you're too old to eat dinner that late.
He's right.
Ooh.
He's right. And
Yeah, we shouldn't be eating that late. And
yeah,
yes, Alex, please send him some ideas. That would be wonderful.
I was going to mention, I mentioned because we've done stuff with Zuber and stuff. I'm not a professional
Mm.
designer by any means, but the stuff that we're creating is coming out really nice. We'll usually order a sample just to make sure that the
I have
quality
so many shirts.
that the quality is there for you guys because I want to make sure. And if you ever buy anything that I don't know you're not happy with, just let me know. I need to know. But just about everything, we have mugs laying around all over because I'm ordering mugs to make sure the printing's right. And we went through several styles of t-shirts to make sure the feel was right. Um, and with the shirts that are on the site, they're a nice quality. We did find that they feel even better after you wash them. So, um, so that's been good. And yeah, if you have any ideas of anything you'd like to see on a shirt or hat, a mug or whatever it is, just let me know. And we'd be happy to try it out. I think we'll get to our last topic here, which was mm, Christmas movies. So I'll tell you my side before Cynthia gets back. Over the years, we've made it kind of a tradition to watch Christmas movies, and that's really enjoyable. But somewhere along the line, Hallmark decided it was a good idea to start Christmas in July. So one of the challenges for me over the past several years was that everything that I had recorded on our DVR or whatever, it seemed to start disappearing before I got a chance to watch it, so that there would be room for this huge catalog of Christmas movies. And so I just got told the other day that our schedule this winter during Christmas is to watch one Christmas movie per day. Then I thought there's a lot more Christmas movies than that. So then the next suggestion was, well, then we'll have to double up and watch two movies a day. And maybe it's just me, but those are hours that I'm never going to get back. So I would love to hear what you guys do.
Okay. So I love Christmas. I love Christmas movies because they're all good, wholesome, feel good movies. They're not, and not to say I don't enjoy a good action flick because I'm up there with the best of them. The only thing I don't like are horror movies. So, but sometimes it's like you watch the news and all this garbage is happening around the world and in your world and in your backyard and all this. And sometimes it's good to like just pretend that there's really a town where people actually like each other and say hi. And sometimes you just need that. Now, you say you think about all these hours that you lose in your life. Francisco Jose Contreras Sr., tell me, how many stinking Christmas movies have you ever watched all the way through before you fall asleep? I can count them.
Well, if I wasn't
No, no,
sleeping, I could be out doing something productive.
no, you wouldn't be.
Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
And you have to admit, Die Hard is one of your favorite movies.
I love Die Hard. Oh my gosh. I love Die Hard. I love that whole series. I told him that this winter, because I won't have to go to work, I want to do the whole Die Hard series. I want to do the whole Indiana Jones series. I want to do the Marvel. I want to do all of those that have. The only one I don't want to do is Spider-Man because it's like Spider-Man, he should have been stepped on a long time ago, okay? It's like enough. But all of those, I want to do all of those series. I want to do the Rambo series. Oh, you know which is one of my favorite is the Expendables 1, 2, and 3. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so
Mhm.
I do like a action adventure. I cannot believe Grumpy said bah humbug.
Well,
Senora, he is. He is a bad influence.
yeah, so
Oh, I love Josh, hometown Southern boy, charms big city girl looking for true love. See,
yeah, and that's the whole concept of every Hallmark movie.
okay, so let's back up. What have we been watching nothing but for the last, I don't know how long? Come on, fess up. What kind of things have we been
Well,
watching every night?
well, that's real life, I think.
No, no, no. Tell them what we've been watching.
No, well, you're going to make me go in a direction that I was hoping not to go. I think she's referring to 48 Hours, 2020,
Dateline,
Dateline,
accuser innocent, uh, extreme whatever. Uh-huh.
Mikey,
Yeah.
all landlords are evil. Didn't you know that? Um, so I'm going to take a chance and ask
Okay.
because I don't know. I
Oh, and by
probably,
the way, we're watching a movie tonight. Go ahead.
oh, well, yeah, but this is a marathon live, so I don't think we're going to have time to watch any Christmas movies. Chip and Joanna, no, definitely not.
Mm-mm. That is a definite or the Christina on the coast or no, Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, I think we went through all of our.
Okay, people, tell me what is your favorite? My favorite Christmas movie overall is White Christmas. And I watch that every Christmas, I mean every New Year's Eve. Yeah, New Year's Eve. So I will watch Christmas movies, not so much this year, but Christmas in July. I try to catch some of them because there's so many of them now. And then October 31st, Christmas movies start here. So we start watching Christmas movies. But once New Year's Eve comes, any movies that did not get watched get deleted. I cannot watch Christmas movies after January 1st. I know, sounds crazy, but I just cannot.
Yes, Grumpy. I'm getting sleepy just thinking about it.
Thanks, Grumpy. So are you guys saying that you don't watch Christmas movies or you don't like Christmas or what? Huh, interesting.
Um,
Josh says, on the advice of counsel, I plead the fifth. Josh, you're slowly going down that list of mine. You used to be at the top.
okay.
And you know that, Mikey, It's a Wonderful Life. I've never seen it all the way through. Maybe this year. I always get like halfway. I don't know if that's one I can get through.
Yeah, looks like we got through the whole list today. Um, Christmas starts on Black Friday.
Well, Grumpy, I don't know how far you're up on that list right now. When you said bah humbug, that dropped you a few notches.
Yeah, so I just want to remind Charles and Alex, we should connect about the shirt thing. I think that's really a nice thought, Charles. If you want to arrange something to get to the, I guess you'd call them teenagers, the younger folks that are going to be at the ORAD event. I think one thing to think about would be we might have to get with Zuber. I know he has 50 spots available for them. I don't know how many he will fill. He's thinking that he will fill them all. That would be great. But I mean, if we were going to get some kind of shirts or something together for them, uh, we would want to know a quantity to be able to get the best price. So let me know about that. And Alex, you mentioned you might be stealing some ideas from Millennial Mike. Let me know what they are. We can always get his blessing before we did anything. So
I didn't see that.
what's that?
I didn't see the millennial mic thing. Oh,
Alex had
I
made a
see.
comment a while back about
Mhm.
putting some ideas on a shirt. I guess he might have been talking about something he saw Millennial Mike say or do.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So I think that's it for today. We appreciate you guys. And don't forget to share the channel with your friends. Help us get to that 500 subscriber mark. That would be awesome. And with
And
anything
a
that we
thumbs
do,
up. Thank you, Bill. And a thumbs up, please.
hi, Bill. Um, and like we said, with anything that we do, if you think of a way we can make it better, just let us know.
Just a second. Don't sign off yet. Had to send a message. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah, I think we are sure about VIP. We probably will not do VIP this year.
Let's just say we're not. Let's not even think about it. We're just not. Done.
No, yeah, no, we pretty much decided we were not going to do VIP.
Okay, hold on just a second. Thank you everyone for showing up. This was nice. It's been a while. Good
Yeah,
to hear.
we'll try to do it again soon.
You notice he didn't give a date because we haven't talked about it yet. That hesitation, that was the communication between us over Zoom right now. It was like, okay, soon.
Well, well, I think they know if you're not here next time, that means you brought out your red pen and I just had to
Yeah, that's
take
true.
take drastic action. All right. Thanks everybody. We'll talk to you
Thank
guys
you.
soon.
Bye-bye.